It's always kind of primarily been thought of as it's a kind of a boy medium. Less now, thank goodness. So, was that, you both talked about there are periods where you moved away from it, whether it was because of, no, people don't get this, or they don't understand what, my passion for this, and you move away from it. How much did that affect you career-wise, actually thinking that this was something that went from, oh, I'll read it, to actually, I want to write it?
Yeah, I mean, had anyone told me when I was, 15-year-old Julie, like, someday you're gonna write a comic book and you're gonna work on an action sci-fi television show, I'd be like, great, that's probably not gonna happen, because why would they put that on TV? Those are movie things. Those don't feel like a thing that gets made. So yeah, the fact that it's just nomenclature, and the fact that it's just the norm is insane to me. The fact that I can drive down Sunset Boulevard and see a Doctor Who billboard or something, you're just like, what? Like,
yeah. I mean, those are things that we would have
never talked about whenever we were in high school, which is so stupid to say. It's embarrassing to admit now that we were prone to that sort of peer pressure of jock versus nerd, but we grew up in a very small, it was the times, and we grew up in a really small town. You go back and watch like Gilmore Girls or something, and they rip on nerds so much in that show.
Yeah.
And you go, oh man, like that was just how it was. And so the fact that it is in the popular culture today, the fact that those can be our jobs is just, it's so, I mean, it's a dream come true. And 15-year-old new Julie that's sitting out there, or wherever, or new Shawna that's sitting out there, like, I can't even believe what's going to be around whenever they're at our place.
And it is different now. I mean, from a time of, even in the, I think of Lee Brackett, right? Lee Brackett, who is co-credited on Empire Strikes Back, was a writer in the 40s and 50s, and was brought in to work on The Big Sleep, and they thought it was a man because the name was ambiguous, and so they said, "Give me that Lee Brackett, that guy. I want him to work on The Big Sleep." And that is something that you look at and go, "Well, I can use my own name." But even as more recently, like even Dorothy Fontana, who for Star Trek. So it's still something that I think has been an issue for women writing in entertainment, whether it be TV, film, science fiction, comics, that is slowly changing because of the more women that are present and are seen doing it. It makes it, I think, I wouldn't say more acceptable, but it makes it easier to visualize yourself as someone who can do that. If all the people that we saw doing it when we were growing up were men, it never occurred to me that I couldn't do it. I just didn't understand how I would do it. Right. And now I think it's easier to see that, oh, there are women who do these things and they write these things and make a living at it, so maybe I can do that.
Do you think, the industry is doing enough, in terms of bringing in, giving people a try, and is it moving in the right direction?
Well, I think it's also about looking for people who have different points of view. If you have a homogenized view of the world, it's difficult to bring anything new to the table, bring any new stories to bear. And so diversity is important just so that you can have a fresh outlook on some of these characters and some of these stories that have been with us for a long time. So I do think you're right, it's moving in the right direction. It would be wonderful to see more women given opportunities. We're given the opportunity to write this book, which is an immense honor and privilege, and we are so glad to have it. And we hope that this will lead to us writing more books, because it is something we really do enjoy and want to continue to do. But it would also be nice to see other women being able to have that same opportunity to come in and have a chance to try their hand at not just female characters, but male characters, because Gail Simone has written Superman, and they are characters. Louis Simonson, they are people that are perfectly capable. We're perfectly capable of writing men, and we put Batman in our book in part to say, these ladies are completely capable and don't need Batman, but it's, who doesn't want to write Batman?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Everyone wants to write Batman.
Yeah.
But I do think that the point of view that we bring as women to the table, we have something different to say about what superhero life looks like to us, as as the female characters in our book, we want to show them as being human and having lives, and also trying to do this impossible thing. Like just how we try to balance our two jobs, ours is nothing compared to a superhero life where they are balancing a real life with this extra life that's happening around them. So I mean, maybe that's a way of us feeding into that a little bit.
I think it's good too that, you know, we're females writing female characters, and bringing that voice to these characters is really important. But that's not to say that, you know, the next run of this book at some point shouldn't have males writing these characters, because once the voice is established, it's about the storytelling. And so, and vice versa. Now that we've written a female book, hopefully we can move on to do more books, and maybe those would be male leads.